CPUCoin with Sean Barger. Mr. Sean? Oh, we got some enthusiasm. Here we go. There's the right girl.
Thank you. Hey, everybody. My name is Sean Barger, and I am the Managing Director of CPUCoin. I'm also the CEO of Equilibrium, which has a partnership with CPUCoin. So our first customer is a very heavy user of content and content manipulation and delivery. And I thought that was a really good combination for actually testing products that you're releasing on the blockchain or that you're creating to decentralize a sharing economy, which is what we are doing. We are building a true Web 3.0 sharing economy, and I'm going to spend a couple of minutes talking about me a little bit. Here's the proverbial disclaimer. I'm surprised I haven't seen more of those. A bit about me. I have been really a pioneer for a long time in many different products in automation. Before that, I was the first producer at Spectrum Holobyte and produced a game called Tetris. You may have heard of it. Still the #1 selling game of all time. I have all the credit for the US releases on that, all the way back to DOS. I did Debabilizer Pro, automated millions of artists' workflows on a desktop for Mac and PCs. You may have heard of it, some of you who've been around for a while. I am the inventor of dynamic imaging. So you all have actually touched media-rich manipulated images today. If you have looked at an image on any high-volume website, our system does dynamic on-the-fly processing of images and video. It's called Media-Rich Server, and that's at equilibrium.com. We did a license with CPUCoin, which is creating something called a computing global network or a content generation network, depending on the product that you're using. And it's a way of building these services that automatically scale in the back end and does not require cloud services. It's running off of public compute and public bandwidth, and it's delivering on the promise of solving one of the biggest problems out there. Before we get into the problem state, let's understand a little bit more real quickly about what true Web 3.0 decentralization is. If your business is hosted on a cloud provider today that sells computing power, you are not decentralized. Who's got a business here that is actually running on a cloud provider, Google, AWS, or Azure? Raise your hand. You are not a decentralized company. You can be shut down tomorrow with a phone call. If your goal doesn't eventually include becoming a DAO, you're not persistent. That means if I get off the wrong airplane, I'll get on the wrong airplane, or your team gets on the wrong airplane, what happens? Where does your company go? What happens to all the actions that you're taking, the management that you're doing? So you have to have DAO in your plan, a decentralized autonomous organization. Anybody claiming persistent ownership, such as an NFT, that can disappear overnight if it's not replicated on multiple verifiable decentralized storage devices. I know this for a fact. I know somebody who actually has his own IPFS node to save money, and his NFTs are being rendered on his own IPFS node. So what does that mean? Well, if that hardware crashes, you don't have an NFT anymore. That's just a fact. The data is gone. So you have to have a replicated, multiple verifiable decentralized storage solution. And on top of that, as long as you're dealing with anything larger than a couple of megabytes, and even a couple of megabytes, we've even seen that recently with a 3,000 by 3,000 JPEG, will not deliver in any reasonable amount of time once it's minted. You need something that that can deliver that processing and deliver that content on the fly, on demand, and then store it in the missing middleware layer cache, which we're going to go into in a little bit. Effectively, right now, there is $1 trillion a year supporting the data center expansion, which is killing the planet. slowly. It's really important that we start utilizing compute much more efficiently. So the problem of that waste of both the hardware and of the computing power is if you've ever sat in front of or anybody here ever got in front of a fan of a data center on the output, yes. This is some heat being put off, massive heat at a data center, and it's a really big problem. So the other big thing is that if you're at a data center and you're only at one data center or you're at two data centers and you're using a cloud computing platform such as AWS, Azure, or Cloud or Google, you're not really decentralized because yes, you might be at these places, but they can be shut down. The solution is a computing global network that decentralizes all kinds of different services automatically, utilizes the existing bandwidth, knows intelligently the bandwidth and compute available, and assigns with the CGN nodes the jobs on the fly, and delivers that content back in the case of HD NFTs or other high volume content processing, and provides a greater cost per CPU hour advantage. So the amount of throughput that you get on AWS right now, I don't know if you've ever seen this, but anybody who's actually running even a test net, Concordia came to us and said, hey, we're running a test net, it's costing us $40,000 a month in API calls to run a test net. Well, for most startups, that's not even an option. And so with CPUCoin, the throughput comparison is pretty extraordinary. We're getting 120x AWS on demand versus AWS on demand and 4.5x AWS Lambda today. I'm not going to go into too much detail on tech because we have limited time, but I will just tell you that the chief architect that architected our system was the 30th employee at NetSuite, and when he came on, there were 6,000 to CPUCoin, and he architected and designed our systems. And we just got approved by one of the top 10 banks in the world for our security model, so that they were willing to do a test with us using their proprietary data and do data analysis on the edge on public computing nodes. So what's the missing middleware layer? The missing middleware layer for things like HD NFTs, where you want to have not 2 megabytes, but 200 megabyte Photoshop files, or 4K videos. The rare guys were talking, everybody who's talking about the future of NFTs and content delivery, the big game is about to start, which is all of the licensing AGs, all of the entertainment companies, they're all looking at, and they probably have massive divisions on how they're going to monetize their content with NFTs. So the missing middleware layer has media transformation. It does all kinds of things like dynamic content processing. It's fault tolerant. It's headless, it's multi-threaded, it's multi-process, and it's auto-deprioritizing. That means that if you have a miner in the hotel room, you're making CPUCoin off the hotel bandwidth that you're using for free while you're processing data, okay? That capability can be applied to many, many, many different applications. So the network is efficient, scalable, it's fast, and it's very capable. And it's built to do a hybrid micro transaction TPS of over 100,000 per second. Effectively, what we've got today is you can go and see at CPUCoin.io the capabilities, and I'm going to just give you a partnership that we're working on that, again, we're not competing. I believe everybody who's doing anything that's infrastructure related should be talking with each other. We're putting together the heavy lifting because I've done it before. I've powered Disney, Sony, and Warner Brothers with billions of assets delivered. And we've taken that and we put that into the miner. And we have 100 petabytes of pre-mined storage about to be announced with digital rights management and CPUCoin, a miner to be deployed on all the machines, providing you a persistent middleware layer with universal API for fast display and high definition NFT content. And I'm running out of time, but I just want to show you this on the screen. Basically, what that means is you can put in not 3,000 by 3,000 JPEGs, but very large files, and the proxy middleware layer, which is an encrypted cache, can display that content on demand in a fraction of a millisecond. There's all kinds of different applications for this. On the left side is the companies that will deploy on our network. On the right side is CPUCoin. We do pay out directly into our exchanges. Our exchange partners actually get airdrops weekly or daily, depending on whether we're using APIs. We have a miner dashboard, which is live, and our first SaaS service, which will ingest 450 file types, is on from Equilibrium. It's a SaaS service that is being powered by CPUCoin, a public network. That's called Tweak It. And you can just put it solves the big problem of ingestion of any file type and delivering it back to you in any form you need immediately. So the testnet is doing live production workloads, and we're paying out companies today. There's many example use cases. I've run out of time, but I will just say that there's DeFi integrations. You see that Pomp said, hey, if you're on AWS, you're not decentralized, folks. Many different examples. Michael is an advisor and an investor. I've known him since forever. We did the Babel Azure together, et cetera. Tony Tong's got over 1,000 racks of Filecoin in Hong Kong. And Matt Butler, I've been working with for 25 years, is an incredible VP of engineering. That's it. We are doing a small 10 to 20 million utility token pre-sale. We're already listed on 2 exchanges. We're right now got 2 or 3 more lined up in Korea and a big Asian crypto.com with one of our advisors who's just come on board and signed, named Harry Choi. We're going to be doing an STO, a Reg D offering in the United States soon, 25 to 50 million. And this is an ESG play. At its core, I'm trying to save the planet one miner at a time. My name is Sean Barger, and I am the managing director of CPUCoin. Questions? Quick.
Full disclosure.
Yes. Sheldon is fully disclosed. Any more questions? You can talk to me after if you want. We deep dive. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much, Sean. All right, thank you, Sean. And yes, please, I do encourage you, go up to all of our great projects, our presenters. Be sure to get any additional questions that you may have answered.